Welcome with applause, Almanac Drops!
Hi, everybody! Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We are Almanac Drops, and we are going to get going for you guys tonight. To get started, we're going to do a scene paint, and to do a scene paint, we need a word. So if I could just get a word at random from somebody in the audience.
Unlikely.
Unlikely.
I like that word, yeah.
I do too.
Yeah, you know, I like that word too.
We see a display case along the back wall, and within the display case, there's a series of different environmental samples. There's stuffed taxidermied animals. There's jars with just dirt in them, like the skeleton of a small unnamed rodent-like animal. They're all
Over here on the bench, keeping with that theme, instead of being stuffed, you have jars of formaldehyde, and within them, you have creatures like you've never seen anywhere in the world. Odd, unusual-looking creatures preserved in formaldehyde.
And here there's an instrument. It's incredibly complicated. It has little lights flashing and little laser beam connections. It's uncertain what it might be for.
On this side, a small table that's been set up. There's a microscope set up on the table, along with a bunch of empty specimen jars with the lids off. And there's a big journal that's blank. Nothing's written in it. There's just one page with a big question mark that takes up the entire page. Well, I still have no fucking clue.
As is so often the case, Larry.
And again, that's why we're scientists, right?
Is it?
It is.
Is it?
It is.
To have no clue is why we're scientists,
No,
Larry.
it's to find the answers to the bigger questions, Scott. That's what we do. We find the answers, eventually, sometimes. I don't have any at the moment, but eventually we might. And you can't tell me that that's not just a really cool shade of green, though, right? Like, I don't... God help me if I can tell what kind of cells are in there or why it's green, but it's kind of pretty, right? Got a couple other really cool colors over here, too, if you want. There's like a purpley one. Hanging in there, Scott?
Yes, Larry, I'm hanging in there. I'm doing my work. I'm concentrating on the work, Larry.
Oh, me too, totally. I mean, I'm all about the work. You know me. But you've got that intensity, that look on your face that's
Blast!
yeah, there it is.
Why? It should be so simple. Rearranging the molecular structure of a living being? Why should it be so difficult, Larry? It's just like Legos. Well, just taking apart the little Legos and putting them back together.
Scott, if it was that easy, God knows everybody would be doing it. I mean,
You're right, Larry.
That's what's going to make our discovery so significant. We'll be the first.
Yes, that's why I'm a genius.
Yes, that's why we're geniuses there. Let's go. was actually Mike's turn to order lunch today.
Mike's not here, is he?
I noticed that. And I thought that was...
Blasted Larry!
I...
How can you be a scientist if you cannot observe that which is right in front of you?
Well, I figured it was, we have methods for everything. There's a scientific method, and there's all sorts of procedures that we do for all of our tests, so I thought I might screw things up a little bit if I ordered lunch today instead of Mike. Did I do bad? Did I...
Shh!
I can order...
Oh! Ow! Oh, goodness. Ow.
See, this is what happens when you get too intense.
Don't need to make fun of me, Larry.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me
I'm
get a
in
slide for
discomfort
that.
now.
Let me get a slide for that. I never have too many samples.
Quite burned. What is this now?
Just put a little drop on there.
Of the blood?
Squeeze it away.
Oh. What are you going to do with that, Larry?
I'm going to see what color this looks like in 24 hours. Now I know, well, I guess I am a scientist, but I got a feeling that is going to go from red to slightly less red. And that's my hypothesis.
Red to slightly brown, you think?
No, I said less red. See, there's a spectrum.
Oh, I hate the sight of my own blood, Larry. Ever since I was a child, it fills me with the most severe mortal dread.
I think most people don't enjoy bleeding, Scott. I don't think that's that
But
abnormal.
it's quite different for me, you see, Larry. For me, even just the sight of one single droplet of my own crimson flowing life force is enough to send me into a downward spiral of depression and anxiety for months on end.
Then I would definitely stay away from the microscope. I'm done with that, because I feel like this is intense enough. I don't want to see you at your worst. So, sorry, I don't mean to poke fun. Hi, Dr. Scott. Hi, Dr. Larry.
Well, it's about time, isn't it?
Yes, sir. You got lunch, though, right, Mike?
Pizza.
Good. See, I didn't completely screw up today, so there was one in the book for me. I didn't do the thing, which means I did something right. Right?
I wish. Good job, Doctor.
Michael, set out the pizza.
Yes, Doctor. You like pizza, Doctor?
Which one? Sorry. Can you be more specific, Mike?
This pizza.
You'd think museum curation would be easier, but they just keep bringing more and more stuff.
Where do all these dead creatures come from, man?
More importantly, who stuffs them all? That's just gross.
That is a weird thing.
You think they get paid well?
I mean, they must. I'd hate to think they were doing it because they love, taking dead creatures and jamming
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. This gig has not been paying me enough. And I'm kind of thinking about getting into, a side venture. So I've been seeing a lot of dead animals coming in lately, and I'm just kind of thinking to myself, well, this is kind of sort of along the same lines of what I do anyways. So if I... Hi.
I got a truckload of dead animals I'm supposed to deliver.
As if we're not stocked enough.
How many
Sign
dead
for that,
animals?
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is just Galapagos tortoises and ferrets. It's all Galapagos tortoises and ferrets.
That's a fetish. That's so weird. How do you stuff a tortoise? I don't know.
With your hands, I would assume. Then again, I'm not a taxidermist yet.
I'm not.
These are the questions I'd like to answer before I get into doing that, if that's what I choose to do.
You know what? Like you, I got into museum curating, not for the money, but for the cachet. I'm thinking of going one step before you. You become the taxidermist? I wonder how much money there is in going out and killing small animals.
So you'd be like a small mammal hitman, and I'd be like your cleaner.
Kind of, but obviously Galapagos tortoises are also a great gig, so I'd want to include, other than mammal, I guess it's not like I'm going to create business cards, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, the basic premise.
I feel like we might be running the risk of doing something illegal here, Charlie, and I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not an animal rights activist or a biology lawyer.
Monopoly laws.
Monopoly laws?
Yeah. It'd be a vertical monopoly right there. We'd be doing the killing,
Oh, because
the
we'd have the
stuffing,
okay, I
and the
understand.
displaying. Yeah.
Oh, hey, here comes Charles Darwin.
Oh, Charles Darwin.
Hey, Darwin! Come on over.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hey, have a seat. You want some ale?
I've grown up such a thirst since my travels, I dare say I would like a pint.
Oh, yeah?
I bet you have.
Been traveling, huh?
Ah, yes. All the
See
way to-
anything interesting?
Well, my dear gentlemen, I have journals and journals of the things that I've seen. Illustrations of the animals that you couldn't even possibly believe in all kinds of colors and variations.
Boy, would I love to see an illustration of one of the animals.
Oh,
Like
that
Well,
would
I
be
could get my book. I have.
Would you?
Oh, I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh, this is the best.
What a dickweed.
This is just but one of several volumes. All of these finches. 7,000 different kinds of finches. In every single variety of color.
Inches, eh?
Yes. The most remarkable thing, there are so many small islands that even though they're in close proximity, they've developed incredibly different characteristics.
Oh, finch
I can
character.
see so many different
Look
colors.
at those characteristics.
How is it even possible that there can be so many different colors?
I thought the
Charlie?
same thing! I said to myself, I said, Charles, there must be an explanation for why nature would discern so many different characteristics out of one single kind of creature. I'm thinking of writing a theory.
Oh, a theory?
Yes!
That sounds exciting.
I think you call it Charles Darwin's theory of differentiationism. It's a working title.
No, it sounds wonderful.
Yeah, I'm going to write a theory too.
Oh, that's right.
I did not realize I was amongst the men of science.
He's
Pray
gonna-
tell, what is your theorem?
My theory is about how when we all get really drunk on ale, we get all spastic and say stupid shit.
Dear boy, I never thought of the consequences of imbibing too much alcohol. You must write a journal. You must write your theorem in a journal.
Yeah?
I say, by my 8-foot-long beard, that must be the most days.
That is a beautiful beard, Charlie.
You didn't have razors on the boat. You know what scurvy feels like?
Ah,
Because I'm getting itchy. Like I'm getting.
yeah,
You getting itchy? I'm getting itchy.
like a dry throat.
Yeah. And I woke up this morning, and I'll just show you. They come, they come right out.
Hey,
You need those.
I know. How do you think I feel?
hey,
Take
Captain.
a look at it.
Not now.
I was just wondering if I could be relieved from my duties today, Captain Sir. It seems that due to the cramping in my gut, I'm not able to operate my legs properly.
Look, Martin, I would love to give you some leave, but we're so short-staffed as it is. 18 people in the last week have succumbed to some sort of illness that I can't quite put my finger on.
Yeah, I understand. I'll get back to work,
So
sir.
I tell you, you've always been a good worker, Martin. I
Yeah.
swear, as soon as a couple people get better, I'll put you down.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let me see.
Oh!
No scurvy.
No?
No.
Oh!
Oh, then back to work.
Wait a minute! Oh, I thought for sure I had scurvy.
No, scurvy involves teeth falling out. You
And the
obviously-
itch. And the itch.
The itch.
Oh, well, now that you mention it, I'm a little bit itchy.
And the sense of command, sir.
Come on. Let me get a blood test or something. I'm sure it's scurvy.
Blood test on the lab on our boat.
Yes,
Big boat.
boat that we're on.
Listen, I'm the captain of this
Both. And when I say go, now Martin, I try to be as easygoing as a captain can be, but we're shorthanded. We've got a lot of work to do. We don't make landfall for
You're
another
right,
2
sir.
weeks.
I mean, it's probably scurvy, but I'll get back to work. I mean, scurvy is running rampant throughout the entire...
I will say I take partial fault for having Margarita Mondays the first week.
Yeah.
We did run out the lime supply.
Yeah.
I thought it would be a good morale boost.
I
A great
thought
way to
so.
start off a 3-month voyage.
I thought
I'm
so,
sorry.
sir. I thought so, sir. I was on.
Oh man, that luau though.
That was
Oh.
great.
Well, see, that's the other thing, sir, is that every time I think of a lime, I'm just like, oh, for a lime.
I feel you. I really do, Martin. But like I said, I mean, we had some killer margaritas a couple of weeks ago.
Did you
I'm
feel
gonna
like that about limes before?
No, that's the thing.
That's a new lime love he's got going.
Yes, could be scurvy.
Oh,
Martin, scuttle your way this way. Let me get a better look at it.
we have no facilities to cure scurvy on this.
Now, Martin, if I'm not mistaken, when I saw you yesterday,
Boat.
you did have a right leg.
Uh-huh.
Am I wrong in seeing that you have nothing below the knee?
Correct, just the old stump up above the knee.
Good observation, Captain.
Lieutenant, I feel like we may have a problem.
Was there a tooth in your lower leg?
Not that I'm aware of.
I could have given you one, but I threw it overboard. I'm sorry.
Well, that could have caused the lip scurvy.
Martin, how about this? We'll call it a half day. How about you finish up your duties for this part of the morning? We'll swap the deck, then we'll give you an early lunch. You can get a good night's sleep, and then we'll see how you feel in the morning.
Oh,
All right?
that sounds just great, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're bleeding on the deck. Just make sure you clean.
I'll swab it, sir.
I got a pen for you.
What now?
A pen. You can use this as a leg. It'll help you.
Oh, grand.
You're welcome. Great job, sir.
Oh my God, I'd kill for a margarita right now.
Larry!
Scott, I heard you yelling. Is everything okay?
Yes, Larry. Everything is more than okay. Results, Larry. Look at this. Look at this.
Oh my God,
You see?
it's like an aquamarine, like a blue, but not a blue like I'm used to blue.
Yes. Yes.
I'm also partially colorblind. I don't know if I mentioned that, so that might, if I'm missing something, please let me know.
You see, the color-coded results lead me to believe that my theory is correct. That molecules are nothing more than Legos. And, we're ready for human trials, Larry.
My God.
Larry!
Tiny, nearly indistinguishable bricks.
Do you remember when I interviewed you for this position?
Well, yeah.
And I said to you, I saw nothing in your background or in your resume that made me think that it would be in any way worth my while to take you aboard.
I frankly agreed, and I thought it was odd that you hired me the position.
Correct. And yet you did say, Larry, one thing that caught my attention and really led me to hire you. You said, I'm sure you'll think of some use for me one day.
I distinctly remember you saying that, and then you laughed ominously for a couple of minutes after.
Is Mike behind me right now?
He is behind you, yes.
Is he doing a weird thing?
He just drank something out of the formaldehyde.
Yes. See, I was thinking of using you for my experiments. I would use Mike, but I don't think he's a pure sample.
I may not be the smartest scientist, but I'm inclined to agree with you on that. Mike, spit it. Mike, spit it out. Mike, spit it out. Spit it out, Mike, spit it out. For the last time, these stay in the jar.
It's so chewy.
I'm sorry, go on, doctor.
Larry, up in my library, on the desk, there's a very large and heavy, dusty tome. Would you mind getting it and bringing it down the 3 flights of stairs to me?
Yeah, I think that I know the one you're talking about.
Thank you. Well, Mike, seems like our day has finally come. Once we take care of Larry, it's going to be you and me. You're the sidekick I've always wanted, you know, Mike. I think you're perfect for a sidekick.
Thank you, Doctor. This is the best day of my life.
Really? I'm not surprised, Mike. It seems to me your life in general is probably just full of awful, terrible days.
I eat some disgusting things. People don't really love me very much. They tell me I smell bad. I'm not a children cry when they see me.
When Mike comes back, would you mind clubbing him over the head, please?
I'm assuming this is.
Knock, knock.
I'm assuming this is the one you want.
Oh, the very one! Thank you, Larry.
So I don't understand what purpose a book that old would have in a modern lab such as ours.
It's got such pretty pictures.
Okay.
Yes. Do you know this was the original manuscript drafted by Charles Darwin himself?
You're in the light. By the way, when was the last time you bathed? You smell so bad.
These drawings were done by Darwin when he was in a state of delirium.
Huh. Oh, his drunk phase.
Yes, exactly. Delirium tremens. And you see, he tossed the manuscript away as nothing but the dreams of a madman.
Huh.
Yes. And my great-great-grandfather found it in the trash. And recovered it and kept it in our family all these generations. Yes. Aren't these drawings crazy?
They're insane.
That one looks like a lizard man, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. And a chicken man?
They're all merged with people.
Yes. That's a fish man.
No, I'm seeing a trend here.
Steak man.
Yeah.
Pig man.
Doctor, I'm following you here. Is there a point to something that you...
Yes! Well done, Mike.
Got it right in the head.
Oh, he's not going to get out, I think. Larry! Larry! I'm
Hold
going
on.
to make you into a puppy man.
Let me see if he's still alive.
We need him alive. We need him alive. Go ahead.
I can make sure.
You do your wet willy. You know what you want to do.
It smells like formaldehyde!
Go ahead, Mike. I know you want to have your fun. Yes. You're my new sidekick after all.
There's some mozzarella cheese.